Hey, my wonderful, wonderful people, a pleasant evening to you. Now, wonderful people, I was on a live and the conversation, it was like a metamorphosis. It was a transitioning from topic to topic to topic, moving from, I don't remember what the beginning question was or the opening question was, but it moved to why men prefer to date younger women, into what are the red flags in relationships and such delight. And, the host basically at the tail end or at the end, of the live asked, what is the salient, the most important, or what message stood out? And I said, when I spoke, I said, what stood out for me is that the more I see relationships, the more I listen to people, the more I engage with people, the more I realize it is imperative that I do not ignore the red flags, because the biological clock is ticking, and the world is coming to an end in the minds of many. Eventually the world will come to an end. But, I don't want to be one of the statistics of a failed relationship because of pressures in society, as opposed to waiting on the right time and allowing God to really, guide that transition and that process, and even the ultimate when I'm in the relationship. The problem with many people today is that they're allowing the outside pressures, the external factors, to really put on the heat. Why is it? Especially for women. I remember back in the day, men, if they were not married when they're at a certain age, maybe when they're in their late 20s, or let us say maybe 30 and upwards, he was deemed not to be on the straight and narrow, but a part of the alphabet, and it disturbed men. So even if they were not interested in a particular woman, what they would do is look at criteria that they think would be considered getting into a successful relationship. Beauty, is she a brainiac? Does she have somewhat of an ambition? And she may follow those three characteristics, those three criteria. But what ends up happening is on the psychological and emotional level, she is found wanting. She is found lacking. There is a disconnect, with the characteristics that resonate well with a man to say, there goes a Proverbs 31 woman. There goes a woman that I truly want to settle down with forever and ever until death do us part. Not looking at the characteristics that define the quality of a woman, not the aesthetics. Beauty and brains, those are aesthetics. It helps, yes, in life, or having ambitious, meaning, okay, you're a go-getter. You want to know that you get your own home, your own car, and you put some money on an investment. Don't get me wrong. These are additionals that are very good, and it does contribute to the success pool, that people try to attain. But what is really lasting and your name carries on is a kind of character that you portray and that people were able to see and emit and emulate, I should say rather. Do not ignore the red flags. Am I saying that you should never ever get in a relationship? What I'm saying is that while the person is being worked on, allow the person to be worked on without having to be a part of the mix. No, right. So you allow the person to be worked on, without being a part of the mix. So for example, you may feel very hungry and all you have in your home is rice and maybe some sort of meat kind. And you put the rice on to cook on the stove and the meat kind. Chances are, and I'm sure 9 out of 10 times, possibly 10 out of 10 times, when the water is boiled out and the rice is still hardened, like it is uncooked, you don't really find people actually eating the rice at that time, because the taste would be so bad that it might turn you off completely ever from cooking and eating rice again, because of the memory that it has left, the mark that it has left in your muscle memory to say rice is horrible. It is terrible. It is something not to be consumed. You don't cook, you don't eat the rice half cooked. It would be horrible tasting. It would be really, really bad. And what I'm saying to you, wonderful people, is this: while the man or the woman is being worked on by God, or they themselves are intentionally working on themselves to be better, it is best that you wait until they're fully cooked before you say, all right, I accept your hand in marriage. For the man who is asking the woman, or the woman who says to the man, okay, I accept getting into a relationship with you. I will date you. I will get into a committed relationship with you over time. Because what you will find is that you will get a half-cooked rice, and it will turn you off completely forever from rice because of the half-cooked meal that you consumed. Do not ignore red flags. I can call some may be a little bit specific to a situation. What may bother some people may not bother, but the general one is disrespect, overly suspicious. That's not normal behavior. Yes, people are flawed beings, and the Bible says none is good, no, not one. But to be suspicious of everybody, and hold that suspicion right through and through, it's not normal behavior. It's not healthy behavior. It's not a true reflection of lack of trust because of something solid. Disrespect, meaning do not hold you in high regard, speak to you in very condescending manner, use very vitriolic and rancorous words towards you. They're abusive verbally, they're abusive physically, they're abusive psychologically and emotionally, and they intend to be that way. It's an intentional act on a repeated basis. Very, very hot-tempered. The Bible says a hot-tempered man is unstable in all his ways. It's best to avoid such a man or woman, because you will learn his or her ways. Another red flag, you find that the person is super jealous. That can be very problematic. It can cost you your life. For me, I'm going to bring in the spiritual. If the person is ungodly, I'd not encourage that. It means they will allow any and everything in the negative to happen to you, because they have no guidance from the supernatural, from God himself. So they will allow any and everything to come in like a disaster, that was really waiting and lurking in the wings to happen. How he speaks to you, if the tone is rude and loud and raucous and condescending and disrespectful. There's so many red flags that we can talk about. If he comes off controlling, if you check the etymology of what the word control means, just the basic meaning, control means witchcraft. A lot of people don't understand that, and I'm sure that many people don't want to be associated with such a diabolical, evil term, and so many other things, something that seems off. And I'm not saying that no one is perfect, so you can't expect perfection. What I would encourage people to do, you have 10 criteria. If he meets 7 or more, then you're in good stead, or maybe say 6. You can, you watch it to see if it is heading to the 7, then heading to the 8. But outside of that, some may say if it's 50%, you kind of date with one eye. It would be different if you're married. But under that, let us put 50% like the pass mark. Under that, no. Allow the rice to be cooked. It may be cooked to your liking. It may not be cooked to your liking. So if it's not to your liking, you part in peace. If it cooks to your liking, then you can make your way within that relationship. But do not ignore the red flags. It can cost you your life physically. It can cost your life emotionally. It can cost your life psychologically. It can cost your life financially. Do not ignore the red flags. Ladies, don't ignore the red flags in the men. Men, do not ignore the red flags in the woman. A word to the wise is sufficient unto the day. Thank you for listening. I'll give you one of those.